Today we have a very, very special guest, co-founder of T Zero Studios. He's worked on Hey Arnold. He worked on Spidey and His Amazing Friends. He's the creator of Bronx Buds, Justin Shenkarow. Thanks for coming on.
Awesome to be here, Jimmy. Thank you so much. Massive Yankees fan and massive fan of your show and everything you do on Twitter or X. And just excited to talk to you and talk to you about the show.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. No, I've been seeing it all over the place on Yes, the Yes app, and everywhere. What inspired you to create Bronx Buds?
Well, we're huge Yankees fans, obviously. You know, I grew up going back and forth between LA and New York. I grew up as a kid actor, so a lot of auditions and jobs I was doing in New York. And my parents are from New York, so obviously, Yankees blood runs through me. And our team, we come from the cartoon animation world. You know, we've worked on everything from Hey Arnold to SpongeBob to Rick and Morty, Solar Opposites. And, we love cartoons. We're cartoon nerds, but we're also massive sports fans. And we thought, what an amazing opportunity to bring cartoons to kids and families of the Yankees. And also for those next generation of fans, the little ones who aren't quite sure of, okay, my mom and dad or my aunts and uncles or, my cousins love this game, but I'm not quite sure what's going on. How do we bring something for them as a cartoon that'll introduce them to baseball and also provide them with the morals and the culture of baseball and teamwork and perseverance and all that fun stuff. So that's kind of how it all kind of came together.
Love it. No, I love the idea. If I was I watched all the episodes, and if I
Awesome.
was a younger kid, I would love the idea. Like, huge Yankees fan growing up, so this would have been perfect for me. I love the characters are great. Oscar, Bash, Riv,
Yep.
they're all great. Uh, can you share the process of developing the concept for the show?
Absolutely. So we initially came up with the characters, as you mentioned, Riv, Bash, and Oscar. It was really important for us to be representative of the Bronx. As the Bronx is a thriving culture. It's very diverse. How do we create kid characters that are going to be representative of the folks who live in the Bronx and New York in general and Yankees fans? And who are the inspiration for these characters? So Riv, who we've got right here, Mariana Rivera, she's a huge, huge fan of his. And of course, her parents loved him growing up, and she was a pitcher. So that's how her name came to be, Riv. Oscar's this analytical catcher who's always got scouting reports, and we were thinking, okay, he's kind of reminiscent of a manager, almost Joe Torre-esque, and what the brains behind the operation and players who are the brains. And then we've got Bash, he wants to grow up one day and be like Aaron Judge. So we're like, okay, a home run slugger. And so the characters started to formulate. And from the characters, we thought, what are interesting storylines that they could go on together? These are three best friends that grew up playing baseball. What do we want the audience to learn? What do we want them to have fun? How do we introduce morals? And that's kind of how the development process began with the characters. And then we whiteboard everything out. We start to think of episodes and storylines and an A storyline and a B storyline. What are other ancillary characters that could work with them? That's how Papa Sardine came about. We have Arthur Avenue in the Bronx, which is Little Italy, which we love. And how do we bring a restaurant to this? And that's how that came about. And we were super fortunate to work with Hexclad, which is the #1 hybrid cookware, which is our title sponsor. And we incorporated them into the show, interweaving them into Papa Sardines and interweaving them into the baseball field. And then we have another sponsor with Buy Cow Auto Mall, the #1 car dealership in New York City. And we've got Bam the Beaver, who's their mascot, who's amazing. So these are kind of all the things that we think about in terms of the writing and the development process. And then from development, as you know, Jimmy, we go right into the script writing, right into pre-production and the voiceover casting. And for me, growing up as a child actor and doing a lot of voiceover, it was really important for me to cast kid actors who would play Riv, Bash, and Oscar. And it would have been kind of easy for me to reach out to adult actors who are obviously very talented at doing kids' voices. I mean, I do that. I've got a lot of friends who do that. and we auditioned. We heard hundreds of tapes, hundreds, but it just, kids have that authenticity. They have that energy. They have that spunk that adults just cannot do. And so then we went on a massive search for really talented kid actors, and we found three brilliant, brilliant kids in New York who are incredibly talented actors. One of them is in the new Beetlejuice movie. Another one is up for a massive Broadway show, and they're just sensationally talented. And, that's kind of how the process evolved.
It's amazing. Yeah, no, and I'm sure like another person, like was Moonshot Mantello, was he based off Mickey Mantle? Is
Of
that
course,
okay?
absolutely.
Okay, all right. I wanted to know that when I was watching the first episode, or
Yep.
no, it was the second episode because they
Second
steal his
episode.
hat.
You got it.
Um, yeah. So were there any specific experiences or memories from your own life that influenced the show?
Sure. I mean, Hey Arnold was a big part of my life. Got to throw out a little Harold Jimmy. Hey Arnold, come here, I'll pound you. We did Hey Arnold for many, many years in the 90s. Love working on the show. Hey Arnold was so ahead of its time. Such a brilliant show that tackled a lot of incredible issues, wonderful morals in them. We were kid actors who were voicing those characters, which is very rare. Usually it's adult actors playing kid voices. And there was a camaraderie that we had amongst ourselves that was very special. So it was a combination of the writing, the storytelling, and I think the actors and the whole crew that really made that show thrive and become such a big part of a lot of folks' childhood. And still is a phenomenal show and still holds up. So I think that influenced a lot of the show. I mean, you watch Hey Arnold, you got Stoop Kid, you have the Pigeon Man, you have very much a show that feels like Brooklyn. You've got those buildings. And actually, my partner Tom, we both worked on Hey Arnold. He was a background painter, and worked on the Jungle movie. And so, a lot of our team comes from that show and from other kind of 90s great shows. So, that show really kind of felt like New York. And we wanted Bronx Buds to really feel like the Bronx, and it also make sure it felt like New York. So when you're watching it, you've got the subway, you've got the row houses, you've got the buildings, you've got, the streets with all the cool retail mom and pop shops. That was very important to us. We took um, a lot of influence from Arthur Avenue to kind of help build the show as well. And so, even the one-eyed pigeon, which which you saw, the curse of the one-eyed pigeon, that had a little bit of harken back to the Pigeon Man. So there, we took influence from Hey Arnold. We took influence from shows that we grew up watching, we grew up working on to kind of help inform Bronx Buds, and then elevate it as well. And of course, Saturday morning cartoons, Jimmy. I grew up with Saturday morning cartoons. Our team grew up with Saturday morning cartoons. Our friends grew up with that. Kids don't really have that nowadays. They can watch shows on their iPad, on YouTube, on TikTok, anything on demand, which is fine. The world has changed. But we wanted to bring that nostalgia back of Saturday morning cartoons where you sit with your bowl of cereal, that new episode airs. You're on the couch. Your parents are making some scrambled eggs and some bacon. You're throwing on some waffles. And so that's why each new episode airs on Saturday morning, to give that nostalgia back so that kids can bond with their parents. And I cherish those moments as an adult.
Yeah, I love it. Absolutely love it. I mean, the Harold voice is great. Did you do any other characters other than Harold, or were
On
you
Hey
Harold?
Arnold,
Yeah.
I played some ancillary characters. So in each episode, you'd have like another kid a few other kids. And so, I mean, Harold was my main character, but I definitely played a couple other little characters, but I don't remember their names. And of
Right.
course, in Bronx Buds, I play Coach Bud.
Right.
And in this episode, we're doing this on Thursday. The new episode 5, airs Saturday, and Coach Bud also has a little bit something up his sleeve, which you'll see in this episode, that is my absolute favorite so far. I can't wait for you to see it and the fans to see it, and let us know what you think. But Coach Bud has a big part in this episode.
Awesome. I loved Hey Arnold. I watched every episode of it. When
Amazing.
Harold goes away and comes back skinnier. All those episodes are great. Can you walk me through, like, I worked in digital media and I did all this stuff, but I never worked in the animation process. What is that like? How long does it take to make these guys move and all that? Has it been easier over the years with technology getting that stuff done too?
That's a great question. When for a big studio, when they put out a cartoon, for a film or a TV show, it can take 2 years, 2.5 years for an episode to start from the idea phase and the script writing to actually seeing it on television. A film can take 5 years. So it can be a very lengthy process. With our show, we're a boutique studio where everyone on our team is an artist. So we don't have kind of layers of producers that are, in a sense, kind of creating a little bit of a bureaucracy. They obviously add value, but they're not necessarily doing the art or the storytelling. And we're all part of that process. Everybody on our team, not only are idea folks and storytellers, but we're actually in making it happen, from voiceover or storyboarding or animatic or animation or background painting, all the processes that happen. So we work pretty darn fast. I mean, for an episode for us, it's roughly 6 months, which is really, really quick. And in terms of technology, AI is out there. It hasn't really come into animation yet in a sense where we can utilize it. I think, some studios, maybe on Disney, DreamWorks, they may be using it. They may have access to something that we don't have yet, but we're very artist focused. We are artists ourselves. We grew up as artists. We've been working on shows. So we're really about working with talented folks who we know, and we want to make sure that everybody gets a chance to eat. Not that we're against technology, we're all for it, but we feel like at this point it hasn't come to a point where it'll surpass us as artists. Maybe that's in the future, but not there yet. And in terms of kind of what the process is, as you mentioned earlier, we have development. And development is kind of that, okay, who are these characters? What is this story? Where do we want these episodes to go? What's a season arc? And then once kind of we have those, okay, pre-production, let's get into the script writing. Let's start knocking out the beats of this story. Let's get into casting these characters. Do we have our main cast set? Are there any guest stars that we're going to bring in? When are we going to record them? How are we going to set that up? Do they have their own voiceover booth? Are we going to set up a studio for them to go in and record? Okay, now we're in production. So now we're storyboarding. The animatic is a moving version of that storyboard. Once that's finished, now we're in the animation phase, and we're actually, the animators are getting in there and they're creating the animation. And then, once from that, we're into post-production, we're into music, we're into mixing, we're into editing, we're into tweaking. All those processes are our workflow, and it's constantly evolving and constantly kind of being tweaked and added and evolved. And production, where you've been in production. Production is there's always things that are thrown at you, and you just have to be creative and think of how do you elevate that experience.
Amazing. Amazing. Yeah, no. So you said that baseball had a big impact on you growing up. Are you a Yankees fan or?
Huge Yankees fan. I grew up, in the 90s where, I was watching Jeter, I was watching A-Rod, I was watching Paul O'Neill. I was, watching all those World Series teams. And, of course, you go back to Babe Ruth as the greatest player of all time. So it's, I grew up a Yankees fan. I grew up with New York as part of my blood. And I was just, a huge fan of some of the best teams that ever played.
Well, yeah, amazing. What was that like for you? You're getting a deal done with Yes Network. Like, did you have the concept for the show already done before you came together with Yes Network, or did you pitch it to the Yes Network? How did that go about?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we had a loose concept of what we wanted to create, which was a really innovative, pioneering baseball cartoon. Just think about it. There's no sports cartoons out there. It's wild. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, there have been some, but very, very, very few. And I think one of the main reasons is that a lot of artists and animators and folks in our animation business, the majority of them are not big sports fans. We all go to kind of art school, and we're very arts and culture focused, which is great, but we're also huge sports fans. We're kind of a animation nerds and sports nerds. Like, we love them both. So we had this idea, and then just happened to meet the folks at Yes. It was kind of an organic situation. And from that, we started to refine the concept and really build it out. And, met the incredible folks at Yes, from John Littner to Jason Fanique, who's sensational, to Eric Handler, and to Bill, and to Jared, and of course the visionary Randy Levine. So it was kind of an organic process that then we really went into the creative development phase. And it was over a course of many months that we were able to come together. And then the Bronx Buds came to fruition. And so it was, I mean, what the question is, like, it's one of the greatest privileges and honors of my life to be able to work with the Yankees Entertainment Sports Network and the folks over there, and be able to showcase this to Yankees fans, to kids, to families, to the next generation of fans. I mean, who gets this opportunity? It's unbelievable. This is once in a lifetime.
Yeah, it's amazing. No, I love the idea. I love the concept. I love that it's only on Yes Network. Like, the young Yankee fans, my future kids are gonna wake up and they're gonna watch the Bronx Buds on Saturday mornings. All right, great. So this must have been a blast for you. I was actually at Yes Network this day. I'm sitting down watching the game. In the third inning, you're on with Michael Kay, and I believe it was Paul O'Neill as well, right?
Yep.
Yeah. What was that experience like, being at Yankee Stadium and being on Yes Network?
It was insane. I mean, there's like no other word to say except like goosebumps, insanity, once in a lifetime, absolutely wild. Never in my wildest dreams could I have imagined it. And yet it was happening. And so I'll walk you through it. Jason Fanique, who's just sensational and so generous and so kind and so brilliant. He walked my partner and I in, along with Danny from Hexclad, who's the founder and another incredible visionary, took us into Legends, which is just unbelievable. I mean, it's all the food you could ever dream about having. I mean, they've got prime rib, they've got sushi, they've got lobster. And so we ate there, and then I'm getting nervous. I'm like, I can't believe this is happening. I mean, I'm a professional actor. I've been doing voiceovers my whole life. And yet this is something I've never done, never dreamed of doing. And I'm just, I'm not saying I'm nervous, but I'm like, I'm starting to get nervous. And it's the second inning, and Jason's like, okay, I'm going to take you guys up there. We walk up to the press area, which of course but no fans ever been up there. And we're, walking, and he's showing us the different rooms of where, the Yes is doing their stuff, and the MLB is doing their stuff. And then all the different rooms where the TV folks are and the radio folks are, and different, the Red Sox are doing their broadcast, because or Masson, I think there is their network, or Nesson is doing their stuff. And I'm just like overwhelmed. And then it's the bottom of the second, and he's like, okay, we're going in, and we go into this room, and there's like lights, and there's microphones, and there's cameras. And I see Michael Kay and Paul O'Neill, who are wrapping up kind of the bottom of the second. And then they're done. They take a photo with somebody. And then, I'm in the room, and I'm starting to feel like super nervous, but I'm not saying anything. And then they stand up, and I'm like, oh my gosh, Paul O'Neill's huge. And I grew up watching him, and I'm like a massive fan. And he takes my hand, and his hand like envelops my hand, because he's a huge dude. So nice, so generous. Michael Kay, such an incredible guy, just lovely, so warm. We sit down. They hand us the cans with the little microphone that extends from the headphones. And then I hear 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I'm like, I've got goosebumps. And then Michael Kay starts talking about, we've got these guests, Danny from Hexclad, and, Justin Shenkarow, the co-founder of T-Zero Studios, and the, co-creator of Bronx Buds. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, is this happening? This is wild. And they were amazing. They were so cool. We talked about the show. We talked about Saturday morning cartoons. We talked about the characters from the Bronx Buds. We talked about it being, a pioneering show on the Yes app. And it was so cool. And then before I knew it, it was over, but it was amazing. And we created little trading cards for Michael Kay and Paul O'Neill. They signed them. They took photos with us. They signed baseballs. And boom, it was over. And it was like, wow.
Amazing. That's amazing. I know you guys got to make a cartoon of me for the
Yeah.
episode. You guys got to. Did you know back in the day in 2019, I went viral for screaming at the fans to get up during
Yeah.
the game. You got to incorporate that into an episode. You got
Well,
to
I
get
got to No, I love it, Jimmy. And you're hearing it first, but we've been picked up for a second season. So,
amazing.
which is super awesome. We're so thrilled. And so we got to bring you into season 2.
Yeah, bring me into season 2. I was the guy telling everyone, get up, come on. You guys got to get up. It's the playoffs here. And
Yeah.
yeah, you had all the the rich fans around because I was way down in the bottom telling me to sit down. It was a whole thing. And I was on the New York Post and Barstool Sports and everywhere around it. It was just a random day, and I was just doing it for the love of the game. So you
Yeah.
got to incorporate me into the Bronx Buds. All right. What advice would you give to aspiring animators or creators looking to develop their own shows based on sports or their interests?
That's a great question. Just do it. Just make it happen. I mean, there's no formula, right? So if you're an animator, if you're a creator, you're a writer, you're a director, you're an actor, you're a voiceover work, just get out there and show your work and don't be too precious about it. I know as us artists, and all of us out there, it's like we're very concerned about putting ourselves out there because we're like, well, maybe it's not the best thing we've ever done, so we shouldn't showcase it. We don't want to get critiqued. And that's just part of being, a creative. You just have to put your work out there. So get it on YouTube, put it on TikTok, get it on Instagram, put it on Twitter, show your friends, work with your friends, get together on the weekend, shoot short films, draw, and just create. And that's kind of that's my advice. Just get in there and do it, put it out there. Anything that you can be creative about and just constantly put it out there. I always go back to, the inventors, right? If you go look at like Alexander Graham Bell, he invented the light bulb, right? And all sorts of amazing things. But he also invented thousands of things that we never heard of and thousands of inventions that were just kind of that didn't work or never took off. But it was just like you just have to put your work out there and you'll build an audience. You'll build a community of folks who are believe in you and you believe in them.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, so we are getting a second season. I love that. How many
Yep.
episodes are in the first season, by the way?
6 episodes. So we have
6 episodes.
episode 5 this Saturday, and then our season finale next Saturday, which is wild. And we got picked up for a full season, 6 episodes for season 2, and we are pumped. And hopefully, of course, it'd be amazing to get some players in. We're going to get you in and really just expand the show and create whole new episodes that are just going to be fun, incredible baseball adventures with great morals tied into it.
Yeah, are you allowed to are you like technically allowed to use the players and their names and rights? Because we saw Aaron Judge was on a
Paw
different
Patrol.
Paw Patrol. But yeah, maybe you can get some of the players in there. I'm sure like Luke Weaver or someone would love to be on the show. Why not? Right? Are you allowed to?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so you're allowed to use their names and rights. So I'm sure this is, I mean, it's only the beginning for the Bronx Buds. I'll tell you that much. So you guys got picked up for season 2. You're going to do another 6 episodes. Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready to come on. If you need a loud screaming fan to do a voiceover, I'll fly out
Love
or
it.
whatever you need me to do. I'll be there. And yeah, no, we really appreciate you coming on and sharing your insights. And I'm excited to watch episode 6 of Bronx Buds. Any final thoughts or anything you want to say?
I just want to say thank you so much, Jimmy, for having us on your show. We're huge fans of you. Obviously, tremendous Yankees fans. We love Bronx Buds. And if you haven't seen the show yet and you're watching this or you're hearing about this through Jimmy, download the Yes app. If you don't have it, you probably already have the Yes app. Watch the Bronx Buds. Reach out to us. We're on Instagram at the Bronx Buds. We're on TikTok at Bronx Buds. We're on Twitter at Bronx Buds. Check us out. Watch the show on the Yes app. It's exclusive on the Yes app, and it's an absolute blast. And we want your feedback. We want to hear what your kids think of the show, and contact us, because this is for the fans. That's what it's all about.
Awesome. Yeah, no, it does. It reminds me a lot of Hey Arnold. I'm really happy that you said that, and
Great.
that you did the Harold voice. But I appreciate you coming on, and we will talk very soon.
Awesome, Jimmy. Thank you so much. This is a blast.
Thanks.